Hey, bless up everyone. It's Shaman again. And today I wanted to do a really short little micro live stream. Got Pablo here in the background who's helping me out, sitting up in the window. And today is Wednesday. I labeled it Prevent Addiction. I was crying earlier. I have a family member who has relapsed in addiction. And I've taken the last 2 years in particular, not only working with clients, but having a close family member. My paternal uncle, my paternal grandmother had alcohol addictions. And many of the clients that I work with, including the clients on video screen today, their parents were with addictions to alcohol. They drink large amounts of whiskey, vodka. For my grandmother, she used Xanax in 1981. Bless up. And she also used beer. She had Budweiser in her closet, and she used the Xanax and the Budweiser together. And why did she do that is because people are using substances to quell their anxiety and their depression. They have this racing heart and racing thoughts, and they don't feel well, and it leads them to try to find something to find peace. In order to prevent addiction, we have to do a couple of things. We need to try to help people before they become exposed to finding something to self-medicate with. And, that goes for people that are incessantly smoking cannabis and vaping and waxing all the time. Most of the time, you'd want to do that because of your level of anxiety. If your level of anxiety and depression is high, then you're going to look for something to try to soothe you. Not only is it an oral gratification, like Freud talked about, for all the things you may not like about Freud and him being a sexist and everything else and having a great deal of machismo, he gave us some really great nuggets about oral gratifications and all of the other levels of gratification. So I've lived through years of having close family members who've had addictions, and most of you have too. Most of the time it would be alcohol. But now, as a car is racing down my street and people are unable to handle the anxiety, the depression, the anger, the intense emotions, the brain fog, we could do something to prevent it. We could start doing tongue and pulse diagnosis like they do in acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine schools. We can start clarifying our diets. We can start getting more vitamin C, like this smoothie I'm taking out the door here with me in just a moment. Just some strawberries, bananas, vitamin C, water, hemp seed. I threw in 4 dates to make it a little extra sweet. We can look at your tongue. We can do what women did as healers a long time ago, just by looking at your tongue, like I do as I'm doing with you right now through a live video. I do through a program called FaceTime. You're probably familiar with it, or Facebook video. And I can see you. My clients can stick out their tongue, and I can see, is the tip red? Is there heart heat? Is there a lot of white coating? Maybe you're not digesting. Is it really fat and scalloped on the edges, which means your poor thyroid is struggling so much? Just by checking your tongue, by changing a few things in your diet, by getting you the minerals that you need and the trace elements like iodine, we can take your anxiety and depression, your brain fog, by changing just a few things, and we can make you feel remarkably better. That is how we're going to help prevent our people from addiction. Now, many of our Black males, African males, were given excess amount of vaccines. So the mercury in vaccines and the mercury that's in many of the waterways, the mercury that's in some of the industrial polluters, like where I live close to a paper mill, Lots of mercury coming out. Maybe we didn't know these things when we moved here. But the mercury causes a big problem with your thyroid gland, just like your eating wheat does. So many of you have said, oh, I'm having an organic whole wheat sandwich. Look at this great bread I got. And I bet it tastes really good. But 99% of the time I say no to that because I can't afford to go backwards in my thyroid health. I went through absolutely the worst anxiety and depression and crying when my son was little. For several years, my adrenals were busted. I was a solo mom. My entire mouth was filled with those mercury amalgam silver fillings. And even though I had detoxed myself and woke up, now I had to deal with getting all of them drilled back out. And after you do that, you feel remarkably better, but then you still have to purge mercury from the body. And it goes into the kidneys, it goes into the liver, it goes into the brain. So it can pop up if you're under a lot of stress. So now when people have addiction, they might go from one drug to the next. They might be diagnosed as schizophrenic or bipolar. My entire family was saying, you're bipolar. You are bipolar. And thankfully, I found a counselor, Dan D'Allard, up here in Duluth, who said, you're not bipolar at all. You have a really good legitimate reason to be crying and not feeling well. And I wanted to go my journey without using pharmaceutical drugs. So I continued to detoxify. I got up the courage to go get the silver amalgams taken out. And I learned more and more deeply through my learning of 34 years as an adult, in addition to what I learned as a child. And this is the medicine that I bring when I'm in session, like this morning, like looking at someone's artwork, like looking at their tongue, looking at their skin, looking at their liver and spleen lines, looking at their lip lines, looking at how cold their hands feel, what's their basal body temperature. I go on and on and on. In fact, I have a client that I've worked with daily for 4 months, and I've probably only gone 1/10 of the way in to where I can go with someone. And thankfully, this particular client is a dream client of mine. They're willing to do what needs to be done, which means they have to spend the time and they have to be open-minded. When you detoxify and you prevent addiction and you reach in and you help the body to heal fully, the person has to be willing to make some changes. Dietary changes, some supplement changes temporarily, perhaps using some cannabis. So we want to prevent addiction with our people. Part of the reason why you're seeing a lot of the shootings, some of them that are not false flag, because maybe not all of them are, people are angry and they don't know how to manage their emotions. So we can prevent addiction. We have ways to prevent your diagnosis from being something that you need to be married with for your entire life. How to make your dogs feel better, yourself feel better, your family feel better. And once a person has developed an intense thyroid issue and they get onto a substance because it feels so good to calm them down, to knock them out to sleep, to do what they need to do, then it's like battling a demon. The drugs that are coming through the dark net, they're coming underground. They're being manufactured in Chinese labs with shoddy, rusty, crappy equipment, are killing our people. They're glut boatloads and truckloads of fentanyl and new variations of heroin and Xanax that's coming out with different types of bars. That's why they say, has anybody got any bars? Just like they used to say, 10 years ago, you'd be going over to the cities and they'd say loud, got some loud. As a shaman, as a person that has worked with people, largely unpaid for the first 20 years, and earning my way through my apprentice, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of books, healing myself, healing people, collecting more recently video and written testimonials. And I don't care what the name of the diagnosis is. We need to heal our people to get strong. Then our people can pay attention to the work that needs to be done. And that is what the image is. That's the magic. These are the keys that we need to bring us forward. So you need to be in a healthy vehicle, and we need to be on a journey or a road together so that we're co-creating with Group Mind. I love you dearly. I'm headed off to go see some other clients. I wish you a beautiful day. And if you're going through the stress of a loved one that is addicted, it is heavy, heavy duty. So a lot of tears, a lot of pain, a lot of stress. Keep your chin up. I'm with you. I'm with all of you. I care enough to make this better for all of us. Okay? One love.